shield. Down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside, I'll lay down my sword and shield. Down by the riverside, study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study no war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. I'm gonna stop all that poison fracking down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Stop all that poison fracking down by the riverside. Study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. 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 We're gonna kick down the house of that. Down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside, study war no more. Study war no more. Study war no more. Study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to New York Island. From Franklin Forest to the ocean water. This land was made for you and me. As I went walking, I saw a sign, and on that sign said no trespassing, but on the other side said universal health care. That sign was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island. From Franklin Forest to the ocean water. This land was made for you and me. Nobody living ever gonna stop me as I go walking down Freedom Highway. Nobody living gonna make me turn back. This land still belongs to you if we don't spend a moment doing anything other than making sure that it does between now and the close of Election Day. It will still belong to you and me, or I must say that we face a very frightening alternative, more frightening perhaps than I remember in any of the many, many, many elections which I took part with. Excuse me.
Holly Wally Doodle.
Yes, Mr. President. So, in point of fact, you know, in the midst of the civil rights movement, we felt that the morality of our nation was at stake, and we were right. Some of us wanted to be able to say with liberty
and justice for all and not be supremely hypocritical. Because at that point, in our nation's capital, for example, if you were a person of color, you could not use a water fountain or a bathroom in a public place unless it said for colored only. You could not. Marian Anderson, a gifted Metropolitan Opera singer, great singer, was not allowed to do a concert in Constitution Hall in Washington, D.C. And there was a lynching once every 3 days on average. And yet, look where we've come. But that did not happen because people sat on the sidelines. It happened because we finally got the courage to move against the tide. Once again, we move against the tide, a tide of a certain kind of madness that is no less impossible to understand than was the ability of somebody to say, with liberty and justice for all, prior to the Civil Rights Movement. We know that these forces are powerful, and we have met them before. In many eras. I personally organized a march in Washington with Cora Weiss for 500,000 people to end the war in Vietnam, an unjust war. I wrote this campaign song for Eugene McCarthy. And I married his niece. There he was, not long before he passed. I said, Gene, I wrote your campaign song, I married your niece. You have a grandniece who was born on your birthday, who is at this point an extraordinary activist. What more do you want? We were great friends, and I wrote this. It sounds very familiar to you. It robs us of the honor that our country has known before, when we will not pursue a peace to end in unjust war. No one is too young to help, no effort is too small. Everyone must care this time, we all must heed the call. If you love your country and the things for which you stand, vote for Gene McCarthy and bring peace to our land. If you love your country and the things for which it stands, vote for Tammy, Baldwin, for Wall and Obama, and bring peace. Peace not just in terms of war and peace, but peace in the sense of justice, which must always accompany peace. And realize that you stand on the shoulders of all those people, many of whom gave their lives, in order that we have a moral nation. The difference between then and now is that now, making a mistake, potentially, can end life as we know it. With the enthusiastic urging of the Israeli government to do a preemptive strike, we could see an exchange that would change the world as we know it. No question about it. With a continued aggressive policy of letting oil and gas rule the roost because of their power and influence in the Congress or in the presidency in George Bush's time, we could see global warming become shortly irreversible. We're looking at a situation where Roe Wade can be reversed. Two more Supreme Court justices, and we can kiss our posteriors in that regard. Goodbye. This is a long battle, folks. I've been at it a long time. And I sang at the March on Washington with Paul and Mary in 1963. We were on the Civil Rights March from Selma to Montgomery. But I tell you that a lot of the nation's future rests in a very strange way right here in Wisconsin. That's why I'm here. Because if you can make sure that we go in the right direction, it will not be, it was more than likely not be a Romney win. And a Tammy Baldwin win could tip the balance absolutely in the Senate. And your Congress people will be essential, if not to dominate the Congress, to stem the tide. So, this is my 8th appearance here. It's the most important series of campaign appearances I've done. And I urge you to go forward with a song in your heart of love and inspiration, because that's the only way we ever got anywhere. Yes, you can be outraged, but you have to be outraged with love. Love of the people and outrage at the actions and the stupidity. That's what Gene McCarthy said not long before he passed. My wife, Mary Beth McCarthy Yarrow, said, Gene yesterday was asked, what's the most dangerous thing to our nation? What would you say? And he said, stupidity. Are you sure? The absence of empathy and the prevalence of stupidity. So, I'm going to have to leave in 7 minutes because you have to get back to work. If I take any more time away from you, I will not be happy with myself. But let us sing in these 7 minutes 2 critical songs. And just as it was that in the Freedom Rides, when they were hauled out of the buses, thrown into jail, and then they insisted on staying there, and they sang, and the jailer said, what's going on? They're happy. They're even singing. He said, maybe that's it. Tell them we're going to take away their mattresses. They'll sleep on cold steel, but they can't sing. They said, we're going to take away your mattresses. You'll sleep on cold steel. He said, we're singing. Why did they sing? Not to entertain each other, certainly, but to bind their hearts together. I do believe that if Congress were to sing, where it started, a day's work, we'd have a different country. So, with that in mind, knowing that Puff the Magic Dragon is watching over you, let's sing. If I had a hat, I'd wear it in the morning, every evening, all over this land. I am a stranger, I am not knowing, I am not known between my brothers and my sisters, all this land. If I had a bell, I'd ring it in the morning, I'd ring it in the evening, all over this land. I'd ring out danger, I'd ring out warning, I'd ring out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Oh,
land is the land of justice. It's the land of freedom. Song of love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. Justice. It's the land of freedom. Song of love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land.
These songs are not anachronisms. These are as powerful now and meaningful now, and even more so. And if we get a country that is filled again with the impulse to be fair rather than to be greedy and selfish in the extreme. I mean, people in the Capitol now are getting arrested if there are more than 4 people singing, they get busted. Can you believe this? I've never seen anything like this. If you hold up a piece of paper bigger than an 8.5 by 11 sheet, you get busted. What's going on? Well, I say, have you been to jail for justice? I want to shake your hand. 'Cause sitting in and lying down are ways to take a stand. Have you sung a song for freedom or marched that picket line? Have you been to jail for justice? Then you're a friend of mine. You law-abiding citizens, come listen to this song. These laws were made by people, and people can be wrong. Once unions were against the law, but slavery was fine. Women were denied the vote, and children were denied. The more you study history, the less you can deny it. A rotten law stays on the books till folks with guts defy it. Have you been to jail for justice? I want to shake your hand in it. Sitting there, lying down, waiting to take a stand. You sung the song for freedom, march to picket line. Have you been to jail for justice? Then you're a friend of mine. Well, the law's supposed to serve us, and so are the police. But when the system fails, it's up to us to speak our piece. We must be ever vigilant for justice to prevail. So get courage from your convictions and let them haul your ass to jail. You been to jail for justice. I want to shake your hand in life. Lying down away. Take a stand from the song. And it's song for freedom. Or march the picket line. Have you been to jail for justice? Then you're a friend of mine. Have you been to jail for justice? Have you been to jail for justice? Have you been to jail for justice? Then you're a friend of mine. Last little bit of blowing in the wind. The other song Peter Bonet sang at the March on Washington in 1963. And also Selma Montgomery. And every concert thereafter. You know, the answer is in all of us, folks. And it's going to take a lot of courage because, once again, as I said, we are swimming upstream. But if you not only ring the doorbells, not only make the phone calls, but in your heart, you have the sense of the imperative nature of what we are doing. And the love of each other, which is so easily manifested, just as it was at the March on Washington, when we sing together. Because it's not just a task. This is really an act of kind of divine wonderment to have this opportunity for me to be here, which is just like you're making those calls. You'll be not only more effective, you will prevail. Let's sing one verse of Blowing in the Wind, and then I will leave you, and you will get back to work. How many years can a mountain endure before it's washed? Before it's washed to the sea. How many years can some people exist? How many years can some people exist before they're allowed? Before they're allowed to be free. How many times can a man turn his head? How many times can a man turn his head? Pretend that he just doesn't see. Pretend that he just doesn't see.